Outside the prison walls, the situation in Jerusalem was growing more desperate by the day as the armies of Babylon tightened their grip, cutting off supplies, surrounding the city like an iron ring, and what had once been bustling streets filled with trade and laughter slowly transformed into corridors of fear and hunger. Food became scarce, and with scarcity came desperation. Neighbors eyed one another with suspicion. Strength faded from bodies weakened by starvation, and the proud confidence that the city could never fall began to crack under the relentless pressure of reality. Yet, even in these final days, many leaders refused to humble themselves, clinging to the hope that an alliance, a miracle without repentance or sheer determination, could break the siege. While Jeremiah continued to repeat the same painful truth that surrender to God's discipline was the only path to life, a message that sounded unbearable to ears still attached to pride. And then the unthinkable happened. The walls that symbolized security were breached. The defenses that inspired confidence were shattered, and enemy soldiers flooded the city, bringing chaos, fire, and the collapse of everything people thought was unshakable. The temple, the sacred center of national identity, was set ablaze. Its treasures carried off, its courts filled not with worship but with smoke and ruin, and the city that had been called holy became a scene of devastation, a visible testimony that spiritual decay eventually produces visible consequences. Jeremiah walked through the aftermath not with satisfaction, but with a heart broken almost beyond words, because a true prophet does not rejoice when warnings come to pass. He grieves, knowing that judgment is never God's delight but his last resort when mercy is continually refused. And the cries of the suffering echoed through the ruined streets, families torn apart, survivors led away in chains, homes reduced to rubble. And in that scene of sorrow, one truth stood clear: that sin is never private, never contained. It spreads outward, touching the innocent as well as the guilty, reshaping the destiny of a whole community. And yet even here the story did not end in total destruction, because amid the wreckage, God preserved a remnant, a small group left in the land. And Jeremiah himself was not treated as an enemy by the Babylonians, who had heard of his message and recognized that he had spoken against resistance. A strange turn of events, where the prophet, rejected by his own people, found a measure of protection from the very power they feared. And this twist highlights the mystery of God's sovereignty, that he can work through unexpected channels, that he is not limited by national boundaries or human expectations. And as smoke still rose from the fallen city and the future looked uncertain and painful, the faithfulness of God had not disappeared, because even in judgment, his purposes were moving toward restoration. And even in loss, he was shaping a deeper hope that would one day rise from the ashes of a broken city.